Hello everyone, welcome to this series on cultural studies, and in this video we are going to discuss the ideas of Cleanth Brooks. Introduction. Cleanth Brooks 1906 to 1994 was an influential American literary critic widely regarded as the leading popularizer of New Criticism. While not the originator of the movement, Brooks played a pivotal role in disseminating its ideas through his teaching and writing, particularly through his co-authored book Understanding Poetry 1938 and other critical works. His contribution to literary criticism is evident in the way he synthesized the ideas of earlier critics, making them accessible and applicable to the analysis of literature, especially poetry. The influence of New Criticism. New Criticism emerged as a dominant force in literary studies during the early to mid-20th century, emphasizing close reading and the text itself over historical or biographical contexts. Brooks was a key figure in this movement, and his work contributed significantly to its spread across American literature departments. His approach was characterized by a focus on the internal dynamics of texts, such as irony, paradox, and the complexity of poetic language. Major works. Brooks's critical career is best encapsulated in two major works, Modern Poetry and the Tradition 1939 and The Well-Wrought Urn 1947. Modern Poetry and the Tradition was Brooks's ambitious attempt to align modernist poetry with earlier literary traditions, particularly those of the 17th century poets. He argued for a continuity of serious wit from John Donne to T.S. Eliot, suggesting that modern poets were remaking the world through their use of complex, intellectually rich language. This book positioned Brooks as a defender of modernist poetry, countering critics who dismissed it as overly difficult or intellectual. In The Well-Wrought Urn, Brooks introduced the idea of paradox as central to poetry, further refining New Criticism's tools for analyzing texts. He claimed that paradox was not only common in poetry, but was the language most suited to it. This work marked a shift in Brooks's thinking as he expanded his critical focus to include poets like Wordsworth and Keats, who he previously viewed less favorably. This flexibility demonstrated Brooks's evolving critical approach even as he maintained the core principles of New Criticism. Brooks's contribution to literary criticism. Brooks's work is characterized by its rigorous, close readings and its insistence on the text as the primary source of meaning. He sought to demonstrate that a literary text could be understood as an organic whole, where all elements contribute to its overall effect. His emphasis on irony and paradox as tools for interpretation was particularly influential, providing a framework for understanding the complexity of poetic language. However, Brooks's approach also had its limitations. His focus on certain traditions, particularly the wit of 17th century poets, led to a somewhat narrow view of literary history. Critics have pointed out that his method could be overly restrictive, potentially excluding works that did not fit nearly into his model of complex, paradoxical poetry. Despite these critiques, Brooks's influence on literary criticism, particularly in the mid-20th century, was profound. Conclusion. Cleanth Brooks was a central figure in the development and popularization of New Criticism. His works, particularly Modern Poetry and the Tradition and The Well-Wrought Urn, provided the foundation for the close reading of texts that became standard in literary analysis. While his approach had its critics, Brooks's emphasis on the text itself as the primary object of study remains a significant contribution to the field of literary criticism. His legacy is seen in the continued relevance of close reading as a critical method and in the enduring interest in the complexities of poetic language. So this was the discussion on the ideas of Cleanth Brooks. We will meet in the next video and discuss some other topic. Until then, goodbye and thank you.